Hi and welcome everyone. This class is going to be slow moves towards eagle or Garudasana, that yoga form where we crisscross the legs and the arms. So my idea is to start on the ground nice and slow with warm-up movements for the shoulders and the hips, as well as some work for the neck and the eyes that can potentially be useful for overuse on screens or for you keyboard warriors. And then we'll come up and do a slow flow, flirting with that shape, if you like. So lots of options to move around in your own way, and I would really encourage you to do that. I have a blanket and 2 blocks. I love these blocks at the top of the mat for lunges. So if you like that as well, you can grab those, put those at the top of the mat, and then you can just have your blanket nearby. We might use it a little later in the practice. So glad you're here. So let's lie back down on our mat. And I should mention too that for some of these shapes, it might be nice to have your computer to the side of your mat instead of straight in front. Sometimes that helps me see a little bit better. All right, so let's land on our backs. And you can lie down in any way that you like, maybe outstretching your legs into like a shavasana, or having your feet planted if that's better for your back. Arms out to the sides. And we'll start with some eye movements for strengthening parts of the eyes that we might not use a lot if we're using our concentric vision on screens all the time. So let's begin by looking strongly upwards and also feeling your back body drop into the ground and your neck release at the same time, feeling the weight of your head. Look strongly up, as high as you can, almost like you're trying to look at the floor on top of your head. And then look to center, and then look to the right corners of your eyes, almost like you're looking down towards your shoulder. Strongly there. You might use your breath, you might not. Let the eyes come to center, and then strongly look to the left corners of your eyes, almost like you're looking down towards your shoulder. And do this until you feel that the muscles are getting worked a little bit. And then come back to center, and then look down towards your cheekbones or down towards your chest. And as you're looking down strongly, are you working your neck muscles or your shoulders? I am. And see if you can release those. And then look to center. And then look to the space in between your brows. So both into the inner upper corners of your eyes strongly. Pause there until you feel the muscles working. Maybe it takes a little longer for some. Maybe it's right away you feel that. And come back to center. And then look down at the tip of your nose, so you're kind of cross-eyeing, and strongly see the tip of your nose till you feel those muscles working, and then release that. Close your eyes for a moment. Maybe there's a big breath in and out there if that's available. And then let your eyes open and take in the light. Like really take it in instead of reaching out to grab it. So it's like your eyeballs sink into the back of your skull. They're rested back a little bit. Yeah. I just notice when I do this work, I can hold space for myself a little bit better because I'm making space for myself. All right, so if you have neck stuff now, proceed with gentleness in this next bit. So we're gonna see how it feels to lift our head up off the floor, and almost like you're going into that double chin space, and tuck your chin strongly towards your collarbones, and see if your shoulders are working, and see if you can let your shoulders drop. Hold it there for a sec. Geez, my head is heavy. And then slowly, like incrementally, let your head come down to the ground. You might feel little tremors there, and then totally release it. So if that felt okay and the aftermath of that felt okay, you can add on to that. So lift your head up. Maybe a lot, maybe even curling a little up through your upper back. Keep your shoulders soft. And then turn to look over your right shoulder and keep that double chin. Pause there, and we're strengthening the deep front of the neck. Come into the center And then look left. Just go nice and slow. You can always come out of it. And keep that double chin. Come into the center, and then we'll incrementally drop the head. So I'm going to keep that chin tuck. Continue to elongate through the back of the neck. Continue to release the shoulders. I can really feel a lot of work there. And then let your head melt and let your neck release. And I almost feel that through my whole body. All right, let's work on the jaw now. So we're going to take our hands to our jaw. And this is great for if you've had the head forward position, because your jaw muscles can get quite tight. So we'll open up our jaw as wide as we can for 10 seconds. And I won't be able to talk when I'm doing that. So open up nice and wide. And then close slowly, incrementally for 10 seconds. So slowly close. Notice how that feels. You might close your eyes. Notice how that feels in your jaw and your skull and your brain area. Then we'll cross our left arm over our right. Give ourselves a big hug. And you can either stay there, or if you can, see if your palms can find each other in this eagle wrap arm position. And reach your hands a little over your head, like your hands are going to fall onto your forehead. If you want to go a little further, that might be enough stretch there, keeping your upper back nice and grounded. You can turn your head over your bottom shoulder. So that's my right. The right one's underneath. Kind of pick up the head a little bit, turn it to the right, and then maybe the fingertips reach towards the floor of the left hand. Take a breath there. And then we'll let those arms go. Open up your wingspan there. You can turn your head back to center or pick it up and turn it. And we'll go right arm over the left, either giving yourself a big hug there. You can inch your fingertips towards the inner borders of your shoulder blades even. Or if you can reach, you can have your palms find each other. So your left fingertips gripping your right palm. And then maybe lift that up a little. Notice what you feel there. And if you want to make it a little more intense sensation, not that it's better, you can pick up your head and look over that dropped shoulder, the left shoulder here, and let your fingertips go towards the floor. Yeah. And then I'll let the arms go, open up that wingspan, then pick up the head, turn it back to center. You can release your arms. Now, let's cross our right leg over our left and start to drop the legs to the right. So it's an oscillating movement. I love these oscillating movements for loosening connective tissue. Notice what you feel there. It doesn't have to be a big movement. It's like a gentle, soothing rocking into the hip. If you want, you can continue on with that nice rocking action. You're almost scrubbing the outside of your left knee a little longer with the top leg. And I feel that in the side waist even a bit. So I can think about that left leg coming from the belly button or even higher up on the line of the psoas. And if you want, you can stay tipped over a little to the right and take your left arm out on a nice diagonal. So you're making a big diagonal line from your left fingers to your knees. And then bring it back to center, arm releases, and switch your legs. So left leg on top, leisurely. Let those legs fall over to the left. Little rocking movements. Doesn't have to be big movements. Sometimes you can find so much curiosity in smaller movements. And maybe slower, but you can change tempo, of course. Move like you here. And if you want, you can let those legs fall over to the side. Let that right arm reach out on a diagonal. And think about that bottom leg being pulled from the belly button or even a little higher up along the right side of the spine. And then bring it back to center. Perfect. Let's draw the knees in towards the chest. Squeeze in there. And now let's crisscross the right leg over the left with our feet floating. You can either hold on to your left knee, or if you can reach, take opposite knees and draw those knees in and away from you. So again, this nice rocking. You're also getting a little pelvic tilt. Doesn't have to be a big movement again. It's like a massage for that top of the sacrum area, maybe even the low back. For some of us, we get a little pinching in the groins here. That's okay, it's natural to have that little compression in the groin. You could minimize the movement a bit if you want. And then if you want, you could pull in and draw in a little bit more. Maybe you're feeling along the outer buttock, maybe especially on that top leg, the right leg. And up to you, if you want more sensation out of it, you could work your hands towards your ankles and kind of make an equilateral triangle with your top knee and your ankles. Even for some, grabbing the outsides of the feet and bringing the feet more in towards you. It's okay to curl the pelvis up a little bit here and draw it all in this crisscross. And this is like a supine cow face pose or Gomukhasana. Let's release that. Helicopter the legs, left knee on top, and you can pull with that top knee, so hands on top of that top knee. Draw in and out, or you can grab both knees, draw in and out, opposite knees. Or if you want, you can slide those hands down towards the shin area or the ankles and hold it in. You might feel a lot more on one side, I do. And maybe even grabbing the outsides of the feet, but you don't need to do that. Finding a place that you get a great sensation of stretch wherever you are. You can curl your pelvis a little off the ground. Get in there. Notice what your eyes are doing. So if they're bugging a little bit, sometimes in intense sensation we tend to bug our eyes. So I try to remind myself to drop the eyes into the back of the sockets. One more breath there wherever you are. Release that. Unhook your knees. Take hands on respective knees. So left and left, right, and circle kind of egg beater out through your knees and towards each other and then away. And then the other direction. Draw the knees in and we'll, however it makes sense, come up onto your hands and knees. So you might do a little rock and roll. You might roll over to the side and come up. However you do, and shift yourself to your hands and your knees. And if you're the kind of person who likes to have a little more height underneath your hands, I definitely do for this, you might have your blocks underneath your hands, okay? So we'll get onto the hands, do a little free-form movement. You can arch, you can round. Moving with kindness to the body. I just heard this recently from Dr. Jody Carrington. It was every teaching that counts has kindness at its heart. Something like that. Any teaching that matters starts with kindness. All right, then we'll take our knees in towards each other here and draw your right knee in towards your right wrist and then snuggle it in front of your left knee. And then that same triangle shape with your front knee and your feet. So you're widening your feet out to opposite edges of the mat there. And then you can shift forwards and back. Now you can make this small little rocks. Maybe that's interesting. Or you're welcome to kind of really almost sit down in between your feet. You're welcome to sit down and come on up into your cow face if you want. So you could come on up, but that might be too much for some folks' knees. You could do that, or you could keep that moving forwards and back. Perfect. Could be a breath-centered movement, or you could let the breath be natural and free. And then let's unhook that right leg, snuggle it out, and switch sides. So it's that left knee up towards the left wrist. Wiggle that right foot in front, or that left foot in front rather, and then make that triangle with your front knee and tops of your feet, shifting forwards and back. Up to you how far you go. Your knees don't have to be right in front of each other. They could be a little staggered. You could sit all the way back in between your feet. Or if you had a foam block, it was easy to move, you could even sit back on that. Let's do a couple more breaths wherever. Really nice. And then unhook that. And you might want to move your blocks to the sides here, to the sides of your mat. Let's step it back into downward facing dog and pedal out your feet. Yeah, noticing how you feel there, backs of the legs, outer hips, inner thighs, eyes and neck. And walk your feet towards your hands, perfect. Maybe you come up onto your shins here, or you can pop your blocks up underneath your hands. Lengthen out and fold. Let's do it 2 more times. Lengthen out. You might even look left and fold. Lengthen out. You're welcome to look right and fold. And this time we'll fold through the center. You might ragdoll your arms and give yourself a nice big knee bend and maybe shift the weight forwards and back. We'll come up to standing. So you could round up if you like, or look a little forwards, arms out to the sides, push down into your feet to come on up. Release your arms back and down. Beautiful. Let's take our arms up. So arms out, back and up. Let's fold in there. Bend the knees, fold. You can take your hands on the blocks or fingertips to the floor. Let's take our right foot back into a long lunge, and then take the right knee down to the floor and start to rock forwards and back. If you want, your blanket's available for some padding under your knee. And your left toes can either stay down, you can explore this, they can stay down as you rock back and up, or they can pop up. Just checking it out, there's spinal movement in there too. You might even change the angle of your hips, like take them over to the right as you come back and take them over to the left. And then come back and take them straight back. You can always change around the angle to give your body some chances to adapt to different movement. And then let's sink in and forward. So let's actually keep those back toes tucked under. You can walk your blocks back or take your hands to the ground. And think about taking your pelvis forwards and just enough sensation. And you can always adjust, maybe walk your back knee back. And then think about keeping your pelvis forwards and then little lift of your back knee off the ground. You might even kind of feel a little shaking there, and then drop it back down. And lift that back knee off the ground, or lighten it even. Pop it back down as you're thinking about the pelvis continuing to drop forwards. Little movements there, micro movements, but wow, a lot there. Almost a strengthening and a releasing aspect to the front of the hip. And we'll drop that back down. And then let's pop ourselves up so that we're in a more high lunge. Feel your back foot strong. You can climb up onto your knee, come on up, and let your arms come up. You might bend your back knee. Let your sit bones drop a little, lift your ribs up. You can find any freeform movement with your arms here. All right, one more breath. Cactus your arms out to the sides, drag them down your back. Shift it forwards. And we're gonna pop that right foot forwards to meet the left. 3 times, we'll inhale, lengthen, and fold. Lengthen out, and fold. You could look opposite directions if you want. Look one side, look the other, lengthen out. And fold, hang out down low for a few moments. Maybe experiment with pushing your feet into the ground and seeing if your legs want to straighten a bit more. And then weight in the heels, either roll up or come up with your arms out to the sides, your spine fairly neutral. Reach up, release your arms. Let's do the other side, arms up. Fold in. Lengthen out. And left foot back into that long lunge. We're gonna let that left knee come to the floor. So if you like the blanket support, go for that. And then shift forwards and back. You can always adjust your stance. You can keep your right foot planted, which might feel supportive and different, maybe more stretched to the top of the ankle, or you can pick it up and see how that feels in the back of the leg. And as we did on the other side, you might change the direction, like swivel your hips to the side and see how that feels. Swivel your hips to the other side. It's like you're getting into all those cobweb areas, however you do. And then we'll sink it in, up to how far you go in or how much you drop onto your blocks or onto the floor. And then we'll think about the back of the pelvis shifting forwards just enough that you get a little more sensation in your front hip. With those back toes tucked under, let's keep that pelvis down and forwards and lift the back knee off. So you're not lifting the hips up so much here. It's just that back knee. It's like you're, again, reaching your leg from your belly button. You can drop your head if you want. Your pelvis will lift a little, just minimize that. Feeling into those little tremors if they're happening for you. Drop down through the leg, the knee, and then we'll pop up. So there's a lot less stretch on that front left hip. And climb up out and find your lunge. So you can reach those arms up, can bend your knee, can sort of neutralize your pelvis. It's okay if it's forward or back, but find a place that feels stable. You can push into both your legs evenly. Take a breath. Notice how your eyes are. Can you take in your peripheral vision a little more, like big wide view? So you relax those concentric eye muscles. One more breath. And then you can drag those elbows down, maybe a bit behind you, cactus those arms. And shift forwards, hands on the blocks or hands on the floor. Left foot meets the right, so pop that forwards, big step or a couple steps. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, fold. 2 more times, you can look left as you lengthen. And fold through the center. You can look right. Taking in your room, taking in the view. And fold in, let's hang out down low for a breath. Feeling how your hips, legs, feet feel, maybe pushing those feet into the ground a bit. And then come on up. So your choice how you come up. If you're rounding, try to engage those hamstrings down towards the backs of your knees. Arms up, reach up, look up. And release your arms. Beautiful. Let's take our arms up and fold in. Good, let's lengthen out. Right foot back. Move your blanket there so your right knee lands on the blanket if you're using that. Shift a little forwards and back. This time we're going to point the back toes. Or that's the invitation. And as you come forwards, you can walk your blocks more underneath you and push into your front leg so it feels like you're not sagging your low spine forward. So there's a little push into that front leg and a little lift of those back ribs. So it's a little stronger in the legs. We'll do one breath, reach up through the arms and cactus those arms. I almost think that my hands are dragging down a window pane or something. It's kind of slow, sticky movement in the shoulders. And then we'll come back down. We're gonna pop up that back knee. So you're in that high position in your low lunge. And we're gonna step forwards to standing on our left leg. So get your left leg prepped for that. And we're gonna step forwards and take our right knee in and up. So we're balancing on our left leg, okay? Then with the right knee in and up, doesn't matter what you're doing with your arms, sink into like a little Utkatasana on your left leg and stand back up. And instead of taking your knee so far forwards, experiment with taking your butt back, your weight in your heel, a couple times. This is a fun transition. And then sink back and cross your right leg over your left. All right, so hang out there, and then let's take our right arm over, or under rather, let's do under. Let's take our right arm under. Either hug yourself there or your hands might find each other. Find your balance. You could hook your foot around, doesn't matter if you do that or not. And think bum back, weight in the heels. You could fold forwards a little bit. You could pop back up. Now let's slow motion out of this. So we're gonna open up those arms, come back up, right knee up. There goes the block. And then shift back into that lunge. So maybe even slow motion. I'm gonna find my blocks. Right foot back. And your hands are grounded. And we'll step our right foot to our left. And 3 times. Lengthen out. And fold. Lengthen out. And fold. You can look another way if you want. Lengthen out. Take in the view. Fold. Stay a little there. Maybe big knee bend. Your own breath that brings homeostasis to your system. And come up how you do. You can open your wingspan or roll up. Push your heels down. Arms up. And release your arms. Let's do the other side. Arms up. And fold. Lengthen out. We'll take our left leg back. Just gonna move that blanket. I love that blanket for support. Drop that back knee down. Untuck those back toes. Take your little rocks. Introducing your nervous system to the lunge. You can always stay with this too. If you like, sink it in. Walk those blocks back a bit, or you can have your hands on your hips if you don't have blocks. Push into that front foot, because if you're like me and you're a low back sagger, push in, find a little more stability, a little more lift of those back ribs. You don't have to harden the front of your belly, so let it be nice and open. Circle those arms up or reach them forwards and up. Maybe lift your gaze, but take in your peripheral view. You can exhale out of your mouth anytime you want. Cactus those arms slowly, squeezing shoulder blades together down your back. And we're gonna shift it forwards, tuck the back toes, and come on up into that long, low lunge. Your hands on the blocks or fingertips on the floor. So prepare for this transition in your mind that you're gonna stand up, clear the floor with your left leg and bring it into your chest. Bring the left knee in towards your chest. So think about grounding in through that right leg, stepping forwards and coming up to stand. Nice. If your hips tend to pop to the right, think about moving your whole hip situation to the left, like you're still standing on your 2 legs. Arms can do whatever. They can be kind of dancing. And then sink in, butt back, and pop back up. With your left leg floating a bit. Sink in, like a one-legged Utkatasana. Pop back up. Sink in, and this time cross your left leg over your right. Think bum back a little. Weight in your right heel, and then we'll go left arm under. So crisscross, give yourself a hug. Or if it's available, you can find your hands. Keep moving your hips a bit back. You can lower down if you want. There you are in your eagle. You can pop back up. Take in your peripheral vision. And then you can pop back up onto that left leg, left knee into the chest, standing one-legged balance. And think about coming right back down into your low lunge with your hands on the blocks or the floor. So slow motion movement. Down you go. Find that. Take a breath. Then we're going to step forwards into a forward fold. A couple of steps or one big step. 3 times. Lengthen out and fold. Lengthen out. And fold. Last one, lengthen out. Stay a little in your forward fold. You can always widen your feet too. You can also let your hands ragdoll, or if you've got a big block, you could stack your blocks too. You could even let your forehead fall onto it. Feeling that. And we'll find our way to standing. So weight in the heels. Feel those hamstrings engage down towards the backs of the knees. Your roll up or your neutral spine up. However you do, move like you release your arms. Okay, we're coming all the way down, so we'll inhale your arms up and fold. Great, inhale, lengthen out there. And exhale, let's step back into our downward facing dog. If your blanket's still there, you can move it a little over to the side. And however you want to come through to a seat. So some might like hopping or step, however you do. Come on down into your seat. And you might want to take that blanket and put it underneath your hips. Legs forwards. Beautiful. So let's take our right foot into a half squat, and we'll take a twist. So it's your choice. You can have that foot on the inside of the leg. There's also an option to have it to the outside of the leg. And you can hook your hand or your elbow and start to turn into your twist. So however much you'd like to turn, you can think about lifting a little space, like there's a benevolent puppeteer picking your head up a bit from the top of your head to give you some space between the pieces of the spine to help you rotate. You can also roll in and out of twists, coming in and out. Sometimes I feel like that is really welcome in my body. And then let's check this out of starting to stack as you come forward, starting to stack your right knee over your left. Keep in mind this is going to put a little more pressure on the back side of the knee. You could work to stack your knees a bit more, or they could be a bit loose. And if you're really feeling this back of the knee as you start to lean in, you can always pop a block underneath it and soften that. But if you like the sensation of that tug on the back of the knee, you can take it out. And the invitation is to come in and out of this. Little in, little out. Either stay doing that or crawl yourself forward, stay in a little for a couple breaths, your own practice here. You might even let your head hang down, like towards your right knee. You might think about your belly button reaching towards your left toes. And let's ground through the hips, come on up, and we'll switch sides. So letting that right leg come out, you can roll out through the legs, wiggle them out. Left foot into that half squat, or if you want, come across. Either one is great. So you can hook, you can take your elbow across if that's a nice twist for you. Left hand behind gives you a bit of support. And find your twist. So option always is to come in and out of it. And I don't know about you, but if you haven't tried this, I get a little more rotation into my thorax, into my upper chest when I ease in and out. Must be something about introducing the nervous system to that and knowing that it can come out of it. Me. Take a breath there. Doesn't have to be the same on both sides. And then we'll go for the knee pile here. So it could be kind of wider knees, a little more loose. Could be with that block underneath. That actually feels great. And you can come in and out. So forwards and back up and test it out. Maybe you want without the block, maybe you want with it. This is a pretty intense lateral line stretch for your bottom leg. So take it where you want to. Maybe stay in a bit. You can always tuck your chin, see how that feels in the back of the neck. Just come on up from that. Unhook your legs, give them a little shake, a jelly roll. And you can take that blanket out. Let's roll down onto our back for some rolling bridges. We'll roll on down, maybe keeping your feet planted, feet underneath those knees, a little wider than your hips. And let's roll on up into a bridge, and then roll on down. Being aware of if you pop your chest super far up over your chin, sometimes it's straining on the neck. So explore the movements, maybe even segmental movements to your spine. So you're coming up into your bridge, you can come up onto your tippy toes, and then roll on back down. Drop your heels. Sometimes I get a little knee crack in this, so I try to move slow enough that I notice what's happening that makes my knee crack, and sometimes I can get out of it. It's totally okay if your joints crack. But sometimes I'm curious, like, can I move in a way that they're a little quieter? So up to you. You can keep doing this beautiful rolling bridge for your spine. Or maybe for some, if you're a wheel person, you can flip your hands, roll on up, and then tap the top of your head, and then roll back down, tucking your chin, rolling on out of it. And then roll back up, tap, roll back out of it. And same thing, this is an introduction to your nervous system. Maybe you roll back up, flip your hands, tap and pop up a little, or maybe a lot, and then come on back down, tucking that chin. Let's go for one more wherever you're at there. Tap, little press up. If you want to stay up, you might rock a little forwards and back. Tuck that chin, roll on down. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Hug them in. Let's slide our hands to the inner legs and hold the inner legs and wobble them a little side to side. It's like you're in a Baddha Konasana. You're holding your legs in a Baddha Konasana, but your feet are wide. If you want, you can take your hands to the backs of your knees and aim the soles of your feet towards the ceiling like a happy baby shape. Or hold your ankles or even your outer feet and get a little wobble side to side. It's okay if your pelvis rocks up a little bit, but you could experiment with keeping the back of the pelvis on the ground as you draw the knees in. Let's bring the knees together now and do a little floating twist. So your knees can go towards one side and then the other. Notice that in your back of your body. If there's any other movements that support you to unwind, you can also pepper those into the practice. Do whatever's kind for your body. Beautiful. So let's start to close this practice just the way that we started it. So my invitation to you is to either plant your feet or you can outstretch your legs. Sometimes I like to grab the edges of my mat and drag my low back away from my pelvis and then settle it back down, and I get a new little ripple effect through the body. You can heel rock, wobble your toes towards you and away from you, and feel that through your whole system. It's nice if you can feel your organ body jiggle a little. And let's go back to our jaw opening first. We're going to reverse it. So open the jaw 10 seconds. And slowly, incrementally release it. Beautiful. Now, notice how your jaw feels. Let's lift the head, tuck the chin, and we'll go right into, if you can, either let go there or look right, double chin. Look left. Center it out. Lower and slowly doof. Drop the weight of your head. Drop your shoulders. And lastly, look up strongly until you can feel those eye muscles working. Look right corners of the eyes. Keep that strong. Look down at the floor on the right side. Down to the cheekbones. Strongly down towards your chest. Left looking. Space in between the brows, upper inner corners. Cross your eyes, look down at your nose tip. And then let your eyes come into center. Take in your peripheral vision, wide vision. Take in your whole room. And close your eyes. That's an invitation to close your eyes and let your eyeballs sink into the back of the sockets. Let your eyeballs rest. Any teaching that matters has kindness at the center. All right, you might want to stay here for a little longer. I know I do. But you could also end your practice here if you like. Up to you. I want to thank you so much for sharing in this practice with me today. May you have peace.